On today's show, all three of the movies I'm going to talk about are all foreign movies and movies led by women. Did I do that on purpose? One of those things was on purpose. Who knows which one? Okay, now I'm going to talk about this movie. So first up is The Handmaiden. This is a 2016 Korean movie, and the director of this also directed the classic Old Boy, which is a phenomenal movie, which I plan on watching soon-ish, but we'll see when that happens. Yeah, I freaking loved this movie. It's incredible. I will warn right away, and I'll say this again later, is this movie is deeply, incredibly sexual. And like it's not there for gimmick or anything. Like it definitely serves the story, and it's also done incredibly beautifully. Um, so yeah, it's great. I love it. It's done so well. And like I definitely recommend this movie to everyone, but at the same time, this is a movie you don't want to watch with other people. Like I'm a very open person. I'm very open with my friends. We talk about everything. There's no real secrets. But like I would not watch this movie with any of my friends, male or female. Like that, no. And like even if I had a significant other right now, like I don't think I could watch this movie with them either. Like it's just so sexual. And like I feel like you might be taken out of the experience if you're watching this with your significant other, because you like might be thinking, oh fuck, what are they thinking about this right now? Whereas like you really should just be immersed in what's going on and the beauty of the thing. Anyway, so the premise of this movie is kind of similar to Parasite in that so this woman, she's like a 20 something who lives with this group of thieves and misfits, and he is another one who's like adjacent to their group, and he's like, hey, come help me rob this rich lady and trick her into marrying me, and then we'll go off with her millions, and it'll be great. The movie's set in 1930s Korea. That is when Japan was occupying Korea. And then actually the movie is both in Korean and Japanese. And what's really cool is that it's really important that you know when they're speaking which language. So they color coded the subtitles. So like when it's yellow, it's Japanese. When it's white, it's Korean. And then I remember at the beginning of the movie, I was really focusing on making sure I remembered, okay, yeah, okay, it's yellow right now. That means it's Japanese. They're talking Japanese right now. Japanese, Japanese, Japanese. Okay. Oh, it's white, Korean. Okay, it's Korean now. Cool. But then after a while, I got into it. So just like the colors, just kind of like I emotionally knew what was going on just based on the colors. I mean, not really thinking about it. And then like late into the movie, got to a scene where I was expecting it to be one color, but then it was the other color, and I was like, "What's going on right now?" And I was just really unsettled. And then I realized, "Oh shit, it's yellow right now. It should be white." Oh my god, crazy stuff, crazy stuff. Awesome. I just had so many technical problems, but it's okay. Back to this movie. All right. So I was talking about language. So really, this movie really is about like the Japanese occupation of Korea, which really should be covered in more media because that's really fascinating and a really important part of history. Um, and language does play into that with that whole thing. And then also, I talked about how it was similar to Parasite. It's also similar to Portrait of a Lady on Fire, and part of why I actually ranked it above Portrait of a Lady on Fire, because I felt like it did the same things and told that same meaningful, important story, but it also did some other really important stuff too. And I freaking loved it. Um, yeah, and also a neat thing about it is it's divided into chapters, and I don't really like movies that are divided into chapters. It's kind of like gimmicky, like oh, see, it's chapter two now. Okay, all right, I guess this is different. But in this movie, like the chapters do feel distinctly different because they're from a different perspective, and like the movie definitely goes in a different direction. Kind of, it goes in a different direction with each of the chapters. So they do feel like they're different entities, but of the same all overarching story, and that's just great. Um, so yeah, sorry, I'm having so many technical problems right now. It's really frustrating. But this movie is so wonderful, and again, I highly, highly recommend it. But again, it's like it's deeply, deeply sexual. That if you're gonna watch it, probably watch it alone. And it's so good. You're not gonna regret it. It's so freaking good. Hopefully this posts. I'm really annoyed right now. All right, let's see if this works this time. Next up is The Nightingale. So this is a 2019 movie from Australia. Uh, Basically, the premise is that it takes place in 1820s on the island of Tasmania. So kind of much like the last one was Japan occupying Korea. This is about England coming over and bringing all those prisoners to Tasmania, and it's really about the evils of colonialism, the oppression of the Aboriginals, and the abuse of women. So basically, she is from Ireland. Oh, it's a big deal, and she got sent to Tasmania because she did some sort of crime. And then a fun fact I didn't actually know during the movie, but after I learned this, was that the worst men criminals get sent to Tasmania, and but women, because they wanted to keep like the populations of both genders or sexes equal-ish. If a woman committed like a small crime, they would send her all the way over to Australia, just because they want to keep things, equality's sake, the worst way possible. But yeah, this movie was solid. It's I will give like a warning. It's quite brutal, especially like there's a lot of rape. I was surprised by that, like how much. And like the director said that she wanted to keep things she didn't want to sugarcoat anything because it was a bad time, and she did not want to romanticize this time at all, especially just like, the evils of colonialism. Like, it's not a good thing, and she did not want to make it a good thing. Um, but yeah. So yeah, it follows this girl, young woman. She's like in her mid 20s, and I won't say what happens to her, but something bad happens to her, and then she's out for revenge. That's what she's like running right there. She want to get some guys. So I did like it. I do have some complaints. It was a long movie, and I could really feel that it was long. They easily could have like trimmed some stuff to make it a bit better or more fast paced. I think that was kind of my big complaint, though. I didn't realize, like, looking at this poster, that one of the other main characters is an Aboriginal man. He does great, and I love seeing things from his perspective. And just kind of like the horrors he's witnessing, and just kind of like the parallels you can take between like her being like thrown into this other country against her will, and him like having his whole life just destroyed by all these people coming in. And it was really interesting. I really liked it. I think there needs to be more movies kind of set in this area to see the horrors real. And finally, Dora. So funnily enough, even though this is an Indian movie, that is a reference to Dora the Explorer. She's making this movie's name is a reference to Dora the Explorer. It's super weird that that's a reference to Dora the Explorer, but that is a thing. So yeah, anyway, so this is an Indian movie, specifically the Tamil language. This is my fourth Tamil language movie. This one is from 2017, and actually the main actress in this was the main actress in Darbar and Begil, which I definitely recommend those, especially Begil. They're both on Prime. This is also on Prime. Begil more so, it's called Whistle on Amazon Prime. Definitely check that one out. Out of the four Tamil language movies I've seen, this one I'd rank the lowest, but I did still enjoy it. I'm going to spoil lots of stuff with this movie because I definitely don't recommend it to people. Like, I enjoyed it, but that's because I'm kind of used to like all like the Indian things now, or more Indian tropes and stuff. But it is not like a good entry film to go in on. I was kind of expecting it, like the way this poster looks, and then what they like the description of it, that it was going to be more of a horror movie, and it definitely said that it was horror in like the thing. So the premise is basically, really short in the premise, a woman in her mid-30s lives with her dad. They're kind of down on their luck, so they decide to start a taxi company. So they buy a car to start this taxi company, but it turns out the car is haunted by the spirit of a dog. The dog's name is Dora, though the dog is definitely a boy dog because he has very dangly testicles that you see a lot of. And it's also a revenge film, much the same way that Nightingale is. So basically, like I said, I'm just going to spoil everything. There was this little girl, and she rescued a dog, and brought her so much happiness. She lived with her grandpa, and it was great. But then one day, they were driving home from something. They got attacked, and these dudes beat the grandpa and then raped her to death. And the dog, it all happened in the car, and the dog decided to starve himself because he missed the girl so much, so he died. And then his spirit went in the car, and then so now his spirit wants revenge on the people that killed her. And then the little girl's heart got transplanted into this adult, because that makes sense to transplant an adult heart or a child heart into an adult. I'm sure that definitely works. And so now the dog's like, oh, this adult woman is actually the little girl that I love, so she needs to be there while I kill these people. Yeah, the movie was okay. My big complaint about the movie was the subtitles. They were not translated well, and they went by way too fast. Like, I could barely keep up with the reading. And like a couple times I had to go back. And like, because they were translated bad too, I'm just like, wait, did I read that sentence right? Or did that sentence just not make any sense? Like, the way it's written. And so it was tough. That was tough. But I did enjoy it. I put it, a lot of it has to do with her. I love how badass she is. She like talks back to dudes and just does like lots of authority and is real badass. And that's great, especially in Indian culture. And like the killing stuff was pretty solid. I was expecting way more of it. And there was kind of one musical number. It was like the dad like jokingly singing about the car, and it was silly. Oh, but there is like a theme song, like the Dora theme song that's about the car, and that's like pretty good actually. Though I can't just type in Dora theme song because that brings up something else. I will say though that so like the car basically, so there's three guys that are going after. The car kills the first one, she kills the second one, and then the third one is, there's paint on my hand, that's what's up. And then the third one is them kind of working together. But I want to talk about that second kill real quick because it's messed up. So basically, she takes a bandana and then puts like some white powder stuff on it. I don't know what it is. And then takes two light bulbs, puts it in there, wraps it all up, smashes the light bulbs so that like the glass shards are like sticking through the fabric. And then like the guy she's going after is running. She then wraps the bandana around his neck and then just chokes him out that way. And it's like, it is extreme. And I was not expecting something that brutal, especially with like how kind of light the whole rest of the movie was, and whole light and silly. It's just like suddenly it's just like, oh, this is like some messed up shit.